Commence primary ignition.
For Thursday, October 14th, 2021, it's the Serenno Squadcast, the official podcast of the Serenno Squad.
Sorry, we're not being animated. Wayne's got a question.
I'm not.
I was gonna say, who's gonna make the joke first?
Yeah. Oh, it's been all day too.
Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Squadcast. Today we have not only the usual crew, but we have a guest here today. We premiered him actually.
Was it the last
two
episode?
shows
It was
ago?
the last episode,
What's
but
the
it
last
was like 2 weeks ago.
It was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time has no meaning anymore.
Yes, we have Jason here, aka Swampy Rooper.
Swampy Rooper.
Thank you for joining us.
Are you really? Is it really Swampy Rooper, or was that a typo somewhere?
That was a typo somewhere. I am not Swampy Rooper, but after I saw that on Squadcast, I owned it.
You did. For the viewers actually who don't know, Jason reached out to us after the last podcast and wanted to set the story straight. So he's come on.
He
the
was
show.
all like, "Don't make me come up there."
He doesn't want to be misrepresented. So we got him on, and we're super excited. We're gonna have him come along for the usual Squadcast ride.
Yes.
So we'll jump right into it with some Legion news.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're gonna bring him in. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America.
Legion news. Legion news. So we have some approval photos. I don't think we have any new announcements here in the Serenno Squad.
We have a troop in a couple of weeks.
Other than nothing new, but it's our last.
Click on the green one.
Is it the green one?
Yes.
Wow.
What?
No, it's not. Oh my goodness.
What's happening?
There we go. That's happening. Don't mind that. So all we have is, I guess, just the approval photos. So we'll take a look at that.
There's quite a few of them, I think, since the last time
There's
we.
a few.
all
There's a
together.
few. That's not what I
That's-
want to see.
That's a Facebook.
That's not what I want to see. Infinite seconds.
Only up to 30 pounds. Over 30 pounds, you're right out.
There we go.
We made it, guys. Par of the course. We gotta shake things up a little bit.
That was great.
Yeah, classic. All right. No, don't you bring on FaceTime.
Oh, come on.
Oh, this is a disaster, isn't it? There we go.
This is what happens when we skip a week.
All right. We made it. Look. All right. Congratulations, DZ22551, for the approval of your Jawa. This is a New Hope Jawa?
I'm assuming.
It's got orange
Sure.
eyes.
A New Hope is dirtier than Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
That's basically the only way you can tell them apart.
God.
As
The
far as I
Mandalorian
know.
one is gray, right? It has
Well,
like
it's
a
because the
gray-
only ones you see in Return of the Jedi are inside.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the Mandalorian ones are gray with red eyes.
Yeah, the off-world. Is there a CRL for the off-world Jawa?
Not yet.
I thought that there was.
I didn't think there is yet.
I could look, but
Yeah.
if there isn't, I'm sure somebody's working on one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this
It looks like that, but gray with red eyes.
classic. Jawas come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. So,
But only two.
well, yeah, like short and tall.
See, if you really want to be a New Hope accurate, you have to be a tall Jawa.
Okay, yeah. That's true. They are not.
Yeah, they're not all
They didn't
short.
start off that short.
It's because they're people.
The one
who-
that's talking to Uncle Owen when he's selling him
It's
the
just as tall.
the droids, he's looking him dead in the eye.
I need to think about that next time I watch it.
Yeah,
because the crew
because
members
he's got
were
my
dressed-
favorite line. Because when the R5 unit pops the little thing, he's like, "It's got a bad motivator." He says, "Hey, what are you trying to pull?" The Jawa says, "Brah!"
In true Jawa form. Yeah, so Jawas are always fun. They're great.
Yes,
So.
everyone loves Jawas.
Congratulations. And this is where are they coming from? It doesn't say specifics.
I'm gonna guess Nova.
Probably no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
They have the most people, so when in doubt, Nova.
Yeah.
All right, let's bounce around here. We've got some photo. There we go. Another approval. TI 94983.
Is that a pilot?
Reserve.
Yes, it was
Reserve.
a type pilot.
Okay.
Yep. So
They shouldn't be wearing glasses.
that's not supposed to be wearing glasses. Uh-oh.
Paul, come
Well,
on, get out of
now
here.
that it's on the show, everyone's gonna find out. And
There has been one
It'll be
indication of
retracted.
glasses in Star Wars, so maybe that's
Yeah.
the thing now.
Maybe
Was
maybe
it
they're
the guy
okay
in
now.
Resistance?
I know that they made me
Rebels.
reshoot mine.
Rebels.
that was also the Doc and Mandalorian.
That's right.
In
And Pershing.
Mandalorian?
Yeah. Yeah, Pershing wears glasses.
Mhm.
The doctor.
Should be taking a bigger role in season 3
Oh.
Yes.
I think I have heard that.
or the book club.
And the ones that are on Clone Wars, or is it Rebels?
There's one guy in Rebels.
Rebels, yeah. Because he's on the ship with all the dishes.
Yeah.
He's wearing glasses.
Yeah.
And we have Tech in the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
He was technically wearing glasses, yeah.
Dang.
Very, very glasses inclusive Star Wars.
Yeah. Very. Yeah.
Just only
Yeah.
recently though.
I just remember when, as being a GML and GWL, they're always like, no glasses in the photos, and they kick the photos back if they got submitted with it.
Well, this looks like a classic. This is a great costume.
Yep.
Start off with. It's
Yeah.
a good. It's
Get your foot in the door, and
a
it's fairly
gateway
cheap.
suit, if you will.
Yeah.
Get you a gunner helmet.
It's the marijuana suit. It's the gateway that leads to the other suits.
The marijuana suits. You're right. All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Great job.
Now, I don't know.
Galactic
If,
Classic.
Center Squad.
I don't know if it was pointed out. The Jawa was a new member.
Oh, cool. So extra congratulations.
Yeah. This one
I
just
guess we
looks.
should point that out.
This one
That's-
just looks like an approval.
Yeah. Well, we would be able to tell if it wasn't cut off and I had done a better job.
Yeah, if only
Meh.
he had scrolled down.
Just real.
Meh.
Wait, can I scroll down?
Yep.
We're going off of
Just a
context clues at
disaster.
this point.
Yeah, we've done this enough before. We know what it is. Congratulations. We got another photo here. That's all good
Cool.
fun.
Hey, hey.
Whoa.
Look at this
Hey, look at
stranger.
that
Who's
Wow.
that?
That guy looks familiar.
It's
I'm still disappointed they didn't do the 3 wolves howling at the moon.
guy. Yeah. I need one in the back of me.
I love that's such a cool picture though.
it is great. It's a
Yes.
great opportunity.
As
Yeah, really wish I'd pulled out the rifle, though. If I'd have known it was going to be like that. Well, it's not all the same gun.
True.
Yeah, they're all 3
The-
different poses. You can
the
make
shorty looks so good on the 501st though, because
Yeah, it
it's
really
that
does.
classic scene.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that when you think of the 501st, you think of when they pull the gun on Bale.
Yeah, I look at that picture and I think, it's time for me to go.
Yikes. Well, congratulations to CCCT.
TC, also TC.
91971. Also known
Me.
as Wayne.
Yay, Wayne.
Congratulations, buddy. That thing
Thanks.
is very cool.
Took 10 months, but I got it.
Do you guys have many clones over there in Nova? No, not Nova. You're Inferno.
There are a couple. Most notably, Jason. Gosh, all right. Sorry, Jason, if you're watching, I forgot last name. Slipped my mind. But he's got a Commander Wolf that been to a couple troops. And who else have I seen? That he's the one that pops in my head immediately. But yeah, there's a couple out there.
Yeah, we need more clones out there.
Yeah, that's actually one of the costumes that drew me to the 501st, and surprisingly, I don't have one yet. So, sometime soon.
That's how it is sometimes.
Yep.
All right. Well, congratulations to this guy.
Yay.
He's all right.
Yay. Ooh.
Hey, I'm gonna catch this one. This is also a new member.
Nice.
DS34342 for their Kylo Ren. This is Force Awakens, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
With the hood.
Still the best Kylo Ren look.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Looks good. That's a good look.
I like the red lines.
They just
I like
they
the
don't
red
make
lines,
sense.
but I don't like the rest. I like the rest of the costume on Force
Yeah.
Awakens more.
the red lines don't make sense to me because
They're
I look
weld
at,
lines.
They're what?
They're weld lines.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna compare it to Rex's weld lines, which look like weld lines, and his looks like someone went in with some acrylic paint. Was like, I think I can make this look cool.
Well, what they were going for was like the shattered Japanese pottery look, where they
Yeah.
repair it with gold.
Yeah.
And so you can see
Yeah.
where it's been broken, but
Yeah.
where it's been broken, it's better than it was before.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that you brought that to my attention because I never once. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I never once saw it like that. But that's totally that makes sense. That's awesome.
New look on Kylo. New look on life.
Wow. Yeah.
So we just need a
Everything's
need a
changed.
Force Awakens Kylo robe with that Rise of Skywalker helmet
Yes.
to just make everyone just twitch a little.
Looks really good.
Ooh.
He's got the whole force choke thing going on there.
Also, Galactic Center Squad.
I wonder if he does the walk and all.
You
'Cause
have to.
that's part of that's part of
if
that
you,
costume.
the thing is that if you put because I got 2-inch lifts in my boots, you put the lifts in your boots, you have to do the walk. That's just how you walk.
You just have to stomp around like
Yeah.
like an entitled little.
All right. Congratulations. Good job.
Hey.
Oh, there's a parking lot full of Star Wars
That-
people.
That's a
Couple
thing.
clones. Hey, what do we got going on here? Is this? I guess this month is.
That's Jason right there. It's Jason.
Oh yeah.
There he is.
Wow.
Wolf.
Speak of the devil.
Wow. And this month is breast cancer awareness. So
Yes.
That's,
Got the pink shoulder
that's
bells and the
appropriate.
pink pauldrons.
Very cool.
nice. Love it. Oh, behind the tree. I like
Nice.
it.
That's
I like
pretty.
it.
Is that photoshopped like that, or is that?
I think it is. That looks
I-
like a black and white tree.
I think that's an actual tree.
Yeah. There's a shadow on him.
Maybe they just maybe that's actually his photo and they just went in black and white his surroundings.
That's what it looks like.
He was
That's
out in
so
the-
cool.
I love it.
Well, you
Love
know what?
that
The
post.
costume's also black and white. Maybe they black and whited the whole picture.
I'm going home.
Yeah. my head is just exploding. No, that's great. Take advantage of the photo opportunity there.
Yeah. Let's see who's.
Yeah, congratulations to TB19688 for the approval of their Scout
I'm
Trooper.
telling you, that's my next costume.
It's Scout Trooper. So cool.
It is.
That's not a Dengar.
That's true. Okay.
We've been trying to convince Wayne to do a Dengar for years.
I really, really want to do it.
That's a good idea. But yeah, this is a good looking one. I mean, he's kind of halfway behind a tree, so he can't see all of it. But for the most part, it looks really good. He doesn't have the diaper thing really going on like the new, what are they called? Remnant Trooper?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones from
Those
Mando where we got
those
the
are rough.
gap and,
And it looks like they're wearing a bra.
This doesn't like nothing is drawing my attention to like this looks weird. That looks like what it's supposed to look
Yeah.
like.
we'll just assume the best for everything we can't see.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe that's why
Really
I'm
bright
like,
white though. Like he just finished that.
The cloth part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, but it'll
Yeah, that'll take some natural weathering.
Yeah.
He'll get food on it from a troop.
Yeah, no, he just he was in battle and he damaged his last one and he just got a new one.
Who
you know?
was it
He's
that
got
had
in.
crumbs all over their tie chest box?
That would be John. That would be old Sheriff Simpson with his crummy chest box.
I won't say anything because they ended up in mine too. So if you eat while wearing a TIE pilot, they're just gonna naturally fall there.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not much you can do about it unless you bring spray air with you to.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a real good idea. Well, congratulations for another great approval.
Good job.
Good job.
I'm glad to see that this year off wasn't wasted. Like we've seen quite a few new people.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to use their stuff
Hey.
yet, but
Linger on that one for a second.
Okay.
I recognize 2 of those TIE pilots.
I recognize every one of them.
I recognize all those Vaders.
Yeah,
All those Darth Vaders.
the Darth Vader on the right is
Let's
me.
see. Yeah, that's
Yeah, the one beside him is me.
yep. Paul, Wayne, Eric,
Peter.
Peter, and
That's Adrian.
oh, is that?
Yeah.
Gosh, I almost forgot she had one.
Yeah. She doesn't wear it very often, but yeah, that's her. Yeah. If it was a 181st, I'd say it was Cammy, but no.
No, that's Adrian.
So
Because that was at the Roanoke Comic Con.
Yeah, this is back in April.
Yeah.
This
was like 2 years ago. 3 years ago.
April of like 2019.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dang, that's really far. I thought maybe that wasn't really anything going on in April, was there?
Not this April or last April.
No,
Nope.
definitely not last April. Very cool. Ayo, I think this is our
He's trying to tell me something.
Our final warning here. ID 11000.
He's oven for
The
us,
big 11,000.
I'm obviously having an ISB officer. I love the ISB officer.
Yes,
I just want to do a regular officer.
I am far too much of a slob for a white coat.
So-
I won't even wear a white T-shirt.
Well,
so-
here's the problem with the white is that the belt rubs off on it, which isn't that big of a problem because the belt's always over top of it. But if the belt shifts around, you can get a line. But
just-
you can throw it in the wash. I threw my cosplay Sky in the wash, but I need to get a new one because the cosplay Sky is garbage.
I'll buy yours.
If when Wampaware puts out their white one, I gotta do
Okay.
Because I want to buy Heather a Wampaware as well because she hates hers.
We should have the transaction on the show.
I'm going to be sure to keep it in the car, though, and just keep smoking in the car.
That'll be the
Then it'll really
So-
look like that, just minus the
just
lighting.
me. Just the yellowy, dingy. I'm here to arrest the people.
You're the you're the remnant officer.
Yeah, exactly.
you're in charge of all the terrible looking troopers.
Like a cigarette burn.
On my face.
All right, yeah. So congratulations for your Imperial Security Bureau officer.
The white is impressive and just has that air of like authority to it.
Yeah.
It's also not quite as shocking as the green and
The green and the black.
because it's kind of Nazi.
Yeah. If I was in the white and just off by myself, I don't look as much like a Nazi
Yeah.
wandering a con as I would in the green or the black.
Yeah.
So for all you sensitive
Oh,
audience,
not even sensitive. It's just in general.
Yeah.
don't try it.
That's what my mom called my reserve TIE pilot when I was making it. She's like, "Oh, is that your Nazi costume?"
Oh my god. Yes, Mom.
Unfortunately, it is, but it looks great. It's not a Nazi costume.
No, his
although
It's just a space Nazi.
it is based somewhat off of the German army. But anyways,
And that's it? That's all?
That's
Yeah, for some reason I thought there were more.
there was just a lot of those.
Oh,
Pictures
there's a
in
bunch of
between.
pictures too. Yeah.
So it's just.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that was good fun. I think. Yeah. I
Good
thought that was great.
times.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, we're not going to find out more about the 30-pound life vests.
I'll
Yeah,
save
For the
that for next
smallest of sailors.
week. Yeah. Yes, it is for a tiny little sailor. For sure. So. But yeah. What,
Come to our Patreon and pay to find out what in the hell he's talking about.
So that's all we have as far as the Legion news goes. So I guess we'll just jump on to our next, because we don't have any after action. There was no action.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
We have to have action before we can have after action.
That's right.
Yes, that's like what?
It's like
Newton or
marriage.
something?
Marriage. Don't want to get me started.
Newton's third law.
All right, here we go, and our top story. I said our top story.
Maybe. Possibly.
Is it playing somewhere? We can't hear it.
I don't know. Top story.
There we go.
Excuse me, that's the wrong
I
franchise.
can't say anything because this is how
I
my
think I know.
entire day has been for technology. So
Top notch. Yes. So top story this week we have Jason with us.
Yay!
And he is going to share with us his experience, at the 501st, like we have
Nope.
all of our.
no.
Click on
Look,
green.
you guys don't have to react to everything. They can't see this, okay? Although I don't know how to get it off.
all right, click on the green.
Yeah, click.
Exit full screen.
There we go. And
Now
yeah,
click on the
so
yellow.
we've got
There we
Jason
go.
here,
Yay.
and we like we have most people on here. We like to know, when they join, kind of what your favorite costume is, what costumes you have, all that good stuff. We just want to learn more about you and your experience with the 501st. So, welcome, Jason.
Yes.
And what's your TK number?
So my TK number is TK51923. I mean, as with, I'd like to imagine that people don't just haphazardly pick random numbers to put them together. I don't know, maybe they do. TK12345.
You did?
I think
I did.
Wayne
What
did.
was your birthday?
Is it not anything?
Yeah, I mean, but I haphazardly just chose them. They were like, here's a list of 5.
Yeah.
They were like,
So they gave
choose
you
some in case these are taken. We'll go from one of your other ones.
I
So,
made mine. Mine is Heather's birthday, and hers is our anniversary.
Nice. Okay. So I chose my kids' birthdays. I have 2 kids. So yeah, it was just pretty simple, but that is my TK ID number. I think on my signature block, I did one of those little pictures of all my approved costumes in my signature block. And so I've got TK ID TX and did I say TI? Whatever. Okay. Well, I'll just
Yeah,
start.
tell
from
it.
the-
What all are those? What all do those stand for? Or
So my first costume was a stormtrooper. I mean, and what got me interested, it goes weird story. I retired from the Marine Corps a couple years ago and immediately went back to work for the Marine Corps as a contractor. One of the Marines I worked with was a huge Star Wars fan. He quickly found out that I was a huge Star Wars fan. And he went up to Awesome Con in Washington, D.C. and of course brought back a whole bunch of propaganda with him and started just handing it out to me. There was like people's cards, R2 Builders Club cards, and one pamphlet that he handed to me was the 501st pamphlet that said, "So you want to be a stormtrooper?" And he said, "Dude, like I saw this and immediately thought of you. Here you go." And so I started looking through it and I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to do this, but man, I don't have the money for that or anything. And so I just kind of kept it up on my shelf with my other Star Wars junk that I've been collecting over the years, and didn't really think too much of it until my family went down to Disney a couple years ago. And while we were down there, this is before Galaxy's Edge was opened, we were walking around in the, what's called the launch bay that's down there, where they were selling all the Star Wars swag and everything. And they had a couple costumes, and I was just, again, I think the bug was kind of chirping in my ear, like, you must build one. And I'm just kind of talking myself out of it, like, nah, it's too much work. I'm too busy, all that stuff. Well, then the next year we went to Galaxy's Edge. And when we went to Galaxy's Edge, it was just kind of like this eye-opening experience. Like everything that I've been dreaming about since I was like a little kid and everything was just like right there. Oh, and by the way, quick fact about myself, I was born and raised up at the top of the state of California, about 45 minutes south of where they filmed all the indoor scenes. Okay. So when I was a wee little lad, not to age myself too much, but I think I was about like, I don't know, probably like 6 years old when they filmed Return of the Jedi out there. Maybe I was a little older, maybe 8, because it was 84, right? Return of the Jedi?
83.
So 83. Okay, so I was 7 years old, but old enough to know what was going on because it was all the talk in my little elementary school there. It's like, there's stormtroopers. I saw a stormtrooper at Safeway this week. He's like, no, you didn't. Yeah, no, seriously, I saw Luke Skywalker at the movie theater last week. It's all those stories that you can imagine. Well, when we finally went and saw Return of the Jedi, and I'm going back to that scout trooper that we saw, immediately as a little kid, I just fell in love. I mean, it's like scout trooper. That's as good as it gets right there, because those were the unique stormtroopers that were in my hometown. So they filmed all the indoor scenes in the Redwood National Forest up in Del Norte County, but then all the speeder bike scenes they filmed in the Avenue of the Giants, which was about 5 miles. Basically, my town is where Avenue of the Giants is in California. So we've since, I mean, over the years growing up there, we all used to go out there into the woods. I mean, I remember when I turned 16, got my driver's license, we would drive to all the places and be like, I swear that's the tree right there that the speeder bike do, and used to try to recreate scenes, all that stuff. So
Make a
ever
photo
since I was a
with
kid, like this, yeah, this whole costuming thing has always been in the back of my head. But when I went back to Galaxy's Edge a couple years ago, they had a first order stormtrooper costume sitting there, and the price tag on it was like $6,000 or some craziness like that. And I think it was a Novos kit, but they had one of those there, and I was like, okay, that's way too cool. Well, when we got back home, my wife just looked over at me and said, why don't you do that? Like, you've talked about it before and thought about it and all that stuff. Why don't you do it? And I said, well, I don't know. How about I try 3D printing a costume? And she was just kind of like, well, can that be done? I said, I think so. And so I started researching, because, and the reason why I said 3D print is because when I was working for the Marine Corps, half our team was actually down there by you guys, on Dam Neck, and they were doing a lot of 3D print work for us. And so 3D printing was at the top of my head at the time, and I started doing a little research, and this is why I said I saw those clone trooper costumes that were popping out that were being 3D printed and everything. I said, well, that's what I want to do. My wife kind of stopped me and said, you can't join the 501st unless you do a stormtrooper.
She seems to know a lot about the 501st. That's true.
Well, so she doesn't. And what's funny is we just got her a costume. So hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll be seeing her up here on the Squadcast.
Nice. Which one?
But an Imperial officer costume. And so she wanted to just dip her toes in the water. So we got her the cosplay Sky costume.
Yep.
But got her everything else that I got for my Wampa Wear costume. So went to Heston Antiques for the boots, got all the accessories from Philo Props, and like rank insignia from Bailey Bill's Designs. I mean, like, did all the top-notch accessories and everything, but that $70 cosplay Sky suit.
Mm-hmm.
So but she got it, she loved it, and was like, well, now I want one like yours.
Yeah, of course.
So I started doing my research, and then, oh, what's that?
I was gonna ask, does she regret like getting you into the 501st, or it sounds like she doesn't?
No, she has said repeatedly, I love this hobby. Out of all the hobbies you've ever had, this is my favorite one.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, I'll accept that then. So which sucks, because my daughter wanted to get in on it also. I was watching Rebels last year when the pandemic hit. I just said, well, I'm going to start over with Clone Wars and Rebels. And she saw Sabine Wren. And my daughter's only 8 years old. She was 7 at the time. She's like, I want that costume. And I was like, oh, I don't know, Elsie. And she said, no, you use your magic machine and make me one. And the magic machine is a 3D printer.
Magic machine.
And I was like, okay, well, sure enough, she's 8 years old, so she lost interest. But I've been trying to talk her into doing a stinking Jawa costume, and she won't do it. But I've even offered to do the Sabine Wren, and I think she's the kind of person that, hey, give her a year, she'll come back around. But regardless, my wife says this is her favorite hobby out of all the ones I've ever had. So
nice. Okay. So the Stormtrooper was your first official one.
Yes, it was. And just because I don't like doing anything the easy way, I started reaching out to both the Garrison and to the FISD and saying, hey, has anybody ever been approved with a 3D printed Stormtrooper? And immediately everybody was just like, don't do it. Just don't even try.
Yeah.
I started seeing some of the jankety designs that were out there and was like, this sucks. I mean, there's no way. But by then, I'd already kind of buried the little seed in my head, and I started doing it. I started researching the costumes, found out like the Rogue One TK was probably going to be the only option to get into for 3D printing. So I just started doing it. I found a designer on CD Trader, started talking to them, and ended up throughout my build putting in 100 requests for them to change their costume based off of the input that I was getting from other members in the FISD. And this designer, like, they had all the right in the world to say, yeah, get bent, dude, I'm not doing that. But they made every single change to that costume that I requested. And it got to the point where I just stopped. I said, I'm not going to ask them to redesign the entire swoop on the chest piece, redesign the entire abdominal armor, everything. I just stopped putting in requests. So if you go into FISD and if you just like do a quick search for 3D print, my work in progress is going to be the one that pops up. And it's like 8 pages long. And you'll see everything that I did, including all the settings I used and all that stuff. And more importantly, you'll see all the input I got on the costume from all these other members. So last year, I became the first idiot to actually get approved in a 3D printed Stormtrooper costume. So that was my little claim to fame. The only problem was I consistently find things wrong with the costume, to the point where even though I made this 3D printed costume and ended up going rogue on a lot of the designs, no pun intended, I printed this thing out and hacked and slashed and everything to get it looking good. I ended up, after I was all done, like pretty much the day I got approved, ended up ordering a Jamiroquai suit. Not because I was never going to wear the 3D printed one again, but mostly because I wanted to see if it could be done. I showed that it could be done, but I don't want to go trooping around in it too much. I might turn it into a Minban Stormtrooper someday because I can really hide the flaws in it with that mud. But yeah, my Jimmy kit is actually one of the kits that I'm building right now. But we're trying to develop a new CRL for the Remnant Stormtrooper. So I've got my Rogue One TK that's, I'd say, 50% complete. Some of you guys saw it last night. It was sitting behind me. But I'm working with leadership in the FISD to actually create 2 CRLs. One will be for the Anthology Stormtrooper, which is probably a more appropriate name than Rogue One Stormtrooper, because it's the Stormtrooper costume that's being used in all the productions now. So basically what I was told was, hey, we need a Centurion level Rogue One TK, which will be the Anthology Stormtrooper. And then you can convert that over into that Remnant Stormtrooper. So I'm going to get a really clean suit and then immediately dirty it up and turn it into that Remnant Stormtrooper from The Mandalorian, which is essentially a Rogue One Stormtrooper with an OT helmet and all kinds of dinged up.
That might be the
What's that?
OT helmets in The Mandalorian.
I've heard there was speculation about it, but I hadn't heard confirmation.
Interesting.
So we bugged, myself and another guy that I know out in California bugged the leadership so much. I think they finally just caved into us, because really what we kept on, what it started with was we wanted to get this approved with a Stormtrooper, the SE-14R. And they were like, absolutely not. Like, you're not going to carry a SE-14R in costume with your Rogue One Stormtroopers. It's like, well, why not? They are in The Mandalorian. That's like the primary weapon for the Remnant Stormtroopers in The Mandalorian. That and this. The E-22. So we were trying to bug them about, hey, we should get new weapons approved for the Rogue One Stormtrooper and stop calling it the Rogue One Stormtrooper. And at first, leadership in the FISD was like, no, you're not going to do that. That's a ridiculous idea. But then we just kept on putting the bug in their ear. And I think I loaded the FISD with probably about like 3 or 4 pages of reference photos. And the FISD commanding officer reached out to me one day and said, go for it. just start putting this thing together. So that's what the big project is right now.
Nice.
But then you got all this stuff behind me also. So sorry, I just talked about a million things and didn't give you guys an opportunity to breathe.
That's why
No,
you're
that's
here.
good stuff. Exactly. We need more people like you.
They
on
hear
this
from
show.
us every week. They don't need to hear any more from us.
And
Yeah.
this is actually what we kind of want people to get out of the Squadcast, is that they'll learn more about, we want more people to join us and to, have the same experience we do. So,
Yeah.
and we want a lot of people, they don't know what goes on behind what they might consider, behind the scenes or whatever of the 501st, but it's really just a bunch of nerds that want to dress up and hang out,
There you go. And there is nothing wrong with saying that. I will gladly own up to being a little Star Wars nerd. So let me give you a little rundown and what actually made me reach out to you guys. And I'll cover some of the costumes that I put together here. So way over my shoulder, right there, we see a Din Djarin helmet. So what's kind of fun about this is season 1 of The Mandalorian's going on. I've already said, okay, well, I'm going to build this Stormtrooper, 3D print Stormtrooper, which, by the way, is a horrible idea. Let me just throw that one out there. After I started doing my build on the FISD forums, immediately every person in the world started reaching out to me, it seemed like, about 3D printing. And after a while, I got to the point where I was like, you guys just stop. Like, this is not a good idea. I mean, like, please, like, try it if you want. But it's probably cheaper and easier to just buy a fiberglass kit, or even, and I cringe a little bit in saying it, like $850 ArmorWorks kit. Yeah. They've got their issue. I mean, some people would say, well, it's totally inaccurate costume and all that stuff, but it's a good entry level costume. I'll just say this, just because, hey, everybody wants to know numbers. When it was all said and done, when you include all my soft parts and everything, I probably spent over, actually I broke it down on the FISD, but I spent over $900 on that 3D print kit. Wow. Which was the same as what I paid for my Jimmy kit. But with all the soft parts, boots and everything, the Jamiroquai kit would, after you're done painting it and everything, is probably going to crack in at over like $1,400. So can you save a little bit of money by doing a 3D print? Sure. Do I advise it? No, because when you start talking about your time, that is definitely money. But I also say that fully knowing that I'm surrounded by 3D print costumes right now. My Mud Trooper is 100% 3D printed. But it's also an ICAT driver costume. Both of those are approved costumes. My ICAT helmet, which this was one of the first ones that I saw you guys talk about on the Squadcast a couple months ago. And it's actually my favorite costume now. But when I started building the ICAT driver, which made its appearance in The Mandalorian as well, season 2, episode 7, one of the guys that's in Inferno Squad, Joe Minimo, told me, well, hey, might as well do a Mud Trooper also, because he's got to throw in a helmet and a couple extra parts. I said, okay, cool. I did it. Helmet, respirator, basically raided all the Soviet surplus stores that are out there for all the other parts that are associated with it, which, by the way, if you ever want to feel like you're going into the dark web, start putting together a Mud Trooper costume. I'm glad I don't work at the Pentagon anymore, because I probably would have lost my security clearance. All joking aside, the Mud Trooper was an awesome costume to build, but I actually, because I need to do my thing, I 3D print my costume, and then I immediately turn around and order a fiberglass one. So Danny's making a new one for me right now. But I got that. But the reason why I reached out to you guys was because of the Swampy Rooper thing. And I think in the comments, I said, yes, the Mud Trooper is also referred to as a Swamp Trooper, but did you know there is a CRL for a Swamp Trooper? And oh, by the way, I'm actually making one right now. So,
What a coincidence.
what a coinky dink. So, back in March, our squad commander, Jim Riley, posted something on the Inferno Squad Facebook page. Anybody want to do this for potential St. Patrick's Day parades next year? And he posted a picture of a Swamp Trooper sticker. And I had already grabbed Scout Trooper parts because, like I said, since I was a little kid, I wanted to do Scout Trooper. And just know I was never going to get around to putting it together. I just said, sure, why not? So I started looking it up and I was like, oh my gosh, there's actually a CRL for this green Scout Trooper. Oh, this is kind of cool. It's in the Spec Ops detachment. So I started putting this together, and lo and behold, I have my green Scout Trooper. Now, this is still in works, but so I saw my elevator bolts right there that are sitting in the other room, and I have to get a hold of some black decals for the nose, forehead, side of the visor, and everything.
That's an actual trooper and not a clone, correct?
It is not a clone. This is a Scout Trooper. So, funny thing about the Swamp Trooper is, at first I was like, oh, that looks funny. I'll do a green Scout Trooper. But then I started looking up Swamp Trooper, like, where the heck is this thing from? And it was a character on the early 2000s video game Star Wars Galaxies. And they were part of the Empire versus Gungan war or battle. And I said, wait a second, these guys were killing Gungans? Like, oh, this is too cool. So, so I started researching everything. Jim Riley and I are both building one right now. There's currently only 13 Swamp Troopers in the Legion, and we're hoping to be numbers 14 and 15.
Nice.
So that's that. But
so you're both going to be Swamp Troopers instead of one of you guys being a Gungan?
See, if somebody wanted to be a Gungan, like if we had a Rebel Legion buddy or something like that, and we could have some fun with that. But
I think you could.
I think there's like one guy maybe in the Rebel Legion, and I think he made it from a statue. Paul, you've probably seen this. You've seen that?
There was a Jar Jar guy at Celebration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah.
Swamp Trooper sounds cool.
Yeah, so Swamp Trooper cool, Gungan not so much. But hey, props to whoever can put that costume together, because that sounds like a pretty crazy one. And then of course I got my my Shore Trooper that I just started. So I say all this stuff because one of the other things that I was gonna briefly talk about is I told you last night about the apartment living in the situation. So my family, we're having a house built right now, and we actually close on Monday. So if we would have been recording like in a couple weeks, I would have had like full-blown Star Wars office in effect here. Instead, I'm trapped in a little room here in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 of us living here. But through all that, it's kind of interesting because I know that a lot of people, like I was just coming up with these excuses. Okay, well, I'm not going to build it because, well, it costs too much money. I don't have the time. Oh, how am I going to do that? And all that stuff. Finally just broke down and said, okay, well, screw it, I'm just going to start working. Just start working. And at the time, we had a house here in Stafford with a 2-car garage that neither one of us parked in. So I just took that over as my workshop and just started just building stuff in the garage. We sold that house and moved into this little 2-bedroom apartment. And we've lived here for 3 months now. And for the first month, I was just sitting here looking. I brought my totes with me, and I went to a couple troops. I trooped as a Imperial officer. I did one in my ICAT driver costume But really, I was like, man, I've got all these costume parts sitting here, but I can't do anything with them because I live in this stinking apartment. Well, after a while, I was just like, you know what? No, I mean, I'm done making excuses because there's other people that might be in a similar situation. They want to join the 501st, but they're talking themselves out of it. Well, I don't have any room to be building these things. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to try. Plus, I'm one of the armors in Inferno Squad, so I have to be able to say, hey, I did it. It's possible, especially with us not having armor parties as frequently as we'd like to right now. So I just got out of my back porch here in the 4th floor of an apartment and just started sanding away. And then started bringing my raw helmets out to this old evacuated parking lot that's behind our local hospital out here, where I took a broomstick and jammed it into the ground, set the helmet on top of the broomstick, and just started painting out there, just hoping no bugs would land on it. But it got to the point where I was able to finish the Swamp Trooper helmet, the Shore Trooper helmet, parts of the Mud Trooper, and other armor pieces for and the E22 blaster. Did all of this while living in this little apartment with no space to work in. So discovered that it is possible to do it. You just have to get very creative with how you work. So anyways, I think that covers all the wave tops of the things that you asked me to join you guys for today. Just, hey, I'm working in this situation, but I've also got 3 costumes approved over the last 3 months, I think. ICAT driver, Imperial officer, and Mud Trooper. And the Mud Trooper and the Imperial officer both came while I was living in this apartment. Imperial officer, that wasn't too hard to put together. I mean, buy the parts, take a picture, and send it in. But I did make my own belts. That was kind of cool. But I've also got my own leather tools and everything. So whoop-de-doo. I'm making
your blasters?
What's that?
Did you 3D print your blasters?
I did 3D print these blasters, the SE14R, which I truly forget where the file came from. It was actually, this was a file that was just floating around the FISD that had been floating around for years that just kind of disappeared out of existence. And then one of the guys in the FISD leadership said, hey, I just found this file on my computer, so print away. And then the E22 was a file from the dude out in Sweden. I forget the name of his company, but I've also got a E20 or a E11 blaster that I put together. Don't really like it too much, but it was a pretty popular 3D file. And then the Scout Trooper blaster, I forget what the designation for that one is, that I 3D printed. But the problem with 3D prints is they're 3D prints. You drop it, you're going to have a blaster that's in about 600 parts.
Are you printing in PLA or are you printing in PTG?
No. Okay, so all my costumes are PTG.
Oh, you made the right decision.
Yes, I am not. Okay, so I say that with one caveat. I did tell you that I was doing 3D printing. I was working with a professional team in 3D printing. And I will say PLA is a great medium to be printing with if you're printing the right things. Costumes, don't do it. I tell people this all the time. Don't put like that chest piece right there. If I was to go out, like the parade that you guys just had down there in Virginia Beach last month, the Neptune Festival or whatever, I forget what it's called. Well, anyways, if I was to wear a PLA chest piece in 90-degree weather with the humidity in Virginia Beach, that thing would be molded to my body when it was over with. PTG holds up great to heat, and you can sand it down just like a real plastic. You try sanding down PLA with a mouse sander, for example, that thing's just going to melt. However, for blasters, I'll do blasters in a mix of resin and PLA plus. I conducted a couple experiments that I posted on, I think I posted them on Facebook and probably the Dinjar and Builders group. And I think I did it in the FISD forums also, where I intentionally tried to melt some costume pieces. So I printed some stuff in PETG, printed some stuff in PLA, and I left them out there on that back deck in my apartment in the sun when it was like 100 degrees outside. And the flat pieces that were made out of PLA, of course, they wore PETG. You couldn't tell anything. It was just warm. But when you start making stuff like this, like smaller, thicker, more robust pieces, like the barrel and everything, those won't warp. So knowing that PLA is much easier to work with or to print, it's much easier to print, and you can get a lot more detail in PLA, I think. I just started doing my blasters in PLA and resin. And the reason why I choose resin, I've got a resin printer, because you can't get, I don't even know if you guys can see that, you can't get that level of detail like what I've got in the hand grip from an FDM print. Like big spools of plastic, it's not going to happen. This grip that I have that's made out of resin, it feels exactly the same as like a Glock or something like that. Same as these caps right here. That's resin. It's a real scope. And then basically any detail pieces that I have on this are all made out of resin. So resin on detail pieces is the way to go. And I do all my greeblies out of resin also.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
They're small enough that it doesn't take much to.
Yep.
It's worth the effort.
Yeah, we play D&D. I think all of us are in the in-person D&D game, and John prints all of the minis in resin. They're tiny, but they have so much detail.
Yeah, and the resin printing is the way to go. The only problem with it is it gets fairly expensive. Like a 1 liter bottle of resin is $30, but I can get 2 rolls of
For that.
PLA or PETG for the
Well, it's so like it doesn't. What you were saying, that it doesn't. It like prints solid, so that everything is like, if you printed something that was like, if you printed a cube with PLA or PETG versus a resin cube, even though if they're the same size, the resin one is going to be 10 times heavier, because the plastic one.
You can make it just as you can make infill so that it's just as light and all, but the difference that I was saying was that you print a layer at one time versus the FDM, it's making laps around to create this one layer, versus a resin printer can go zap and get a whole entire layer at once. So you would think, yeah, those resin prints would be denser, and they might be down to a micro whatever, but you can still make a resin printer just as with just as much infill or whatever.
And you can actually make resin prints completely hollow also. So on Chitubox, which is the slicer that's you're pretty much forced to use with resin printers, especially like the Elegoo printers, there's a button up at the top that just says hollow, and you hit that button and it just hollows it out. So like this piece right here, this is all resin. I mean, it's completely hollow. But the hand grips, they're completely solid. Nice. So it's funny because other people that have SE14s will say, "Hey, can I see yours? It looks really cool." I'll hand it to them. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it feels like an actual weapon." Well, that's because of the amount of resin that I used in here, because there are a lot of solid pieces. This end cap is solid. This end cap is solid for the most part. I mean, it's hollow also, but it's solid. Grip solid, and the main body, the lower receiver, is completely solid resin. So yeah, this thing's got some heft to it. And then my E22 has got a little bit of beef to it also, even though a lot of it is PLA. But this has also got an aluminum tube in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a big 3D print guy, but it's funny because I've got just as many fiberglass kits as I do resin kits, or I mean 3D print kits, and then even doubled up on some of them because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, Paul and I, we both dabble a little bit in it. And I don't know if you've heard from our previous podcast, but I've printed a complete Commander Bly clone armor in PLA.
This one is right here.
Yeah, so I can't wear it until like Christmas time.
Like an indoor troop.
Yeah, it's a winter costume. So
Exactly.
What file did you get for the Commander Bly helmet?
Galactic Armory, actually, yeah. So Aaron printed me the helmet, and when I got the helmet and worked on it, I was like, oh my gosh, I was planning on buying the suit just in vacuum form, but after I started working on that, I was like, I'm going to get files and do the whole thing. And so I did, and it was great. I got approved. It was fun, but it's very very risky.
Yeah.
I say all the time, like, friends don't let friends print armor in PLA.
They tried to stop me, but I didn't listen.
You know, usually it's not going to warp. The conditions have to be right, but around here, the heat and the humidity, like during the months that we want to go trooping in, it's just ripe for disaster. And then you leave your costume in your car while you go get lunch or something like that. You come out and you've got a wavy looking helmet. I've got the same helmet. That's why I asked you if it was a Galactic Armory. And Aaron's stuff. And sorry, I'm looking through my phone for mine. So there it is. I got the same helmet.
Oh yeah,
It was the Commander Bly helmet. But again, it was one of those things I printed off, and then I just had so much other stuff to work on. I was like, you know what? Season 7 of the Clone Wars, I loved it. The 332nd was on there and everything. I'm going to take this realistic helmet, and I'm going to paint it in an animated style. So that's a helmet that will never get approved unless they did a realistic CRL for the 332nd. But it turned out awesome.
There's the hot toys. Didn't they?
There's Hot Toys or Sideshow did a figure, so there's reference. Somebody just has to build it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I think it was Hot Toys, and then of course Hasbro's got issues with their figures also. They consistently mix up the animated.
Yeah, there's a lot of people unhappy with Hasbro,
Yeah.
but
I still buy them.
yeah, of course we all do.
I mean, they're small enough where it's not that big of a deal.
But yeah, I got that same helmet, and then Aaron's armor kits are fantastic also. So from the Galactic Armory, I mean, just awesome. Yeah, I'm not gonna useless facts and everything, but yeah, his armor. If I do a 3D print clone, I'll go with the Galactic Armory set.
Wait, what were you gonna say?
You said you had a TX. Is that the Black Trooper?
So TX is designation for the Spec Ops detachment. So my Mud Trooper is a TX.
Okay. What's the designation for the Swamp Trooper then?
What's that?
What's the designation for a Swamp Trooper?
It'll be TX as well. I have to look it up. Yeah, I don't think they did. No, they didn't do ST because that's the Shore Trooper designation. So I think, somebody's going to have to smack me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty confident all the Spec Ops detachments, costumes all have TX as a designation.
Yeah, almost all of them. I think there might be a couple of exceptions.
Because I think even the Death Trooper is TX. So I'd have to look at that because I think I was calling them DT. What's that?
That's why I was asking, because I thought that meant that you had either a Death Trooper or a Shadow Trooper.
I think they all keep the TX designation. I'll go back onto the forum tonight. Because actually the Mud Trooper I actually got it approved at the specialist level. So I think I was the 7th or 8th Mud Trooper to get the specialist certification, which is basically their level 2 certification. So people ask me about 3D printing all the time. I try to steer people away from doing the Stormtrooper until Nico Henderson finishes his armor set that he's told everybody that he's building for a while. But he's just put on the back burner because he said it's hard to build armor. But I try to steer people towards like the ICAT driver, the Mud Trooper, the Shore Trooper, Mr. Paul's Shore Trooper file. I mean, it's fantastic build. Even the Sean Fields free Shore Trooper kits, they're better looking than some of the ABS kits that are out there right now. So there's different options. I just got a wild hair and decided to try a Stormtrooper. I don't recommend other people try it, but there are plenty of other costumes that are regarded as the most realistic or most accurate costumes out there for those specific characters. The Mud Trooper and ICAT driver being them, or being prime examples, and Mr. Paul's Shore Trooper build.
All right.
So what we should take away from this is absolutely 3D print a Stormtrooper.
I've already printed the helmet, so
go for it. There's a couple good files out there. Actually, one of the better files, there was a guy that just wouldn't leave the idea alone on the FISD a couple of weeks ago. He really wanted to 3D print an OT Stormtrooper, and all of us were telling him, don't do it. Not the OT. Do not try it. Yeah. Well, there's one guy out there that makes a great OT 3D print file. His name is Chris the Prop Guy.
Oh, yeah.
But Chris made his 3D files because he uses them as bucks for his ABS kits that he's vacuum forming out in Australia. So they are accurate as bucks, but you're still going to get some of that wonkiness and weirdness out of them, but it's just, they're still pretty crisp. But we couldn't talk this guy out of it. He said, no, I've got to do it. So he's out there 3D printing an OT costume right now. We'll see what happens with it. But Chris's stuff is great, but it's supposed to be vacuum form. Even Chris says that. Like, I made these so that people could vacuum form, or so that I could vacuum form off of them, meaning Chris. But he sells his files for like $10. So why not?
Sometimes you can't beat that. Yeah. All right, well, I think we're about at the end here. But Jason, thank you so much for coming on, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Lots of great knowledge. You made me want to build another kit, even though I don't have any room for one.
Yeah. But we need to have you on again when you've got the Star Wars office set up.
Or you know what, we could have them do like a room tour for the channel to send.
There we go.
Send you videos just as a standalone video.
You can contribute. Oh, and by the way, since you're on the show, everybody who's been on the show, we send you a patch of the logo. So you're going to get a patch, providing you provide me with an address.
Say it right.
I will.
All right. Well,
Not the address you're currently at, because
God only knows who'll get it then. So be like, what's this?
all right. Well, I'm gonna
Monday. We'll be in our house next week.
Nice.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this week. If you want to find out more information, check out 501st.com. If you want to watch or see our approvals and keep up with the whole Garrison as a whole, we've got the Instagram account, Garrison Tyrannus. And, we are the Serenno Squadcast. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and, of course, for
YouTube.
your viewing pleasure, we're on YouTube. So
You gotta go to
like
YouTube.
and subscribe, all that good stuff. thank you, Jason, again for joining us and representing yourself as the one and only Swampy Rooper.
Swampy Rooper, we love it.
All right, man. Well, thank you again, and until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.